everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that subscribe button. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow, and I really do appreciate it more than you know. So click that subscribe button. Appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. All right, I do want to switch gears because there was another piece of juicy little gossip that came out of major college football earlier this week since we last recorded Monday's show. It came Monday afternoon at the beautiful Knoxville Touchdown Club, okay? How about this as a guest speaker at the Knoxville Touchdown Club in Knoxville, Tennessee? Urban Meyer, former Florida head coach, former Ohio State head coach, was the speaker of honor at the Knoxville Touchdown Club earlier this week. It was funny. I saw some of Urban Meyer's comments, and his wife, Shelly, said to him, don't eat anything, don't drink anything, because those people do not like you down there. Of course, Urban Meyer, the former Florida head coach, and keep in mind, of course, that they had a great rivalry with the Tennessee Vols during his time at Florida. I bring it up, and people were probably sitting there saying, Torres, why are you talking about a random Urban Meyer public appearance? Well, it's because, we know how these quarterback club things work. You come, you speak, you get paid, you have, you take pictures, whatever. And at this event, Urban Meyer was asked a lot of different things. He was asked about his memories of Florida, Tennessee. He talked a lot about Phil Fulmer, John Chavis, the former defensive coordinator. But he was also asked the question that everybody wants to know. He was asked, do you ever see yourself coaching college football again? And Urban Meyer, to his credit, he gave a pretty definitive answer. Here is what Urban Meyer said at the Knoxville Quarterback Club about his future as a college football head coach. He said, nope, I'm good. I never took a day off. People, when I say that, will scratch their eyes, scratch their head. I'm like, I never took a day. I had some health stuff go on. I became addicted to sleeping pills. I was just a maniac worker. And now also Shelly's like, hey, let's go here. Let's do this. I have 4 grandkids. Let's do that. The first year or so, I wake up and I'm like, I want to coach a team, but no desire. So no desire. So covered a lot of ground there, talked about being addicted to sleeping pills, but he basically said, look, I'm a grandfather now. I'm over it. I enjoy spending time with my family, zero interest in it, whatever. He later added, I thought this was pretty interesting. He said, it has never been harder. And he's saying to be a college football coach, never been harder. I'm telling you right now, every coach, every player has an agent. Think about that. Remember those days? Maybe a coordinator every once in a while had an agent. There's nothing wrong with agents. They're great. But when I am the head coach, having to deal with a high school player that says, meet my agent first, I'm going to want to meet with your family because you are talking about recruiting and other stuff. And so essentially, Urban Meyer's talking about why he would never get back into coaching. Basically, used to be, your coaches you could have a relationship with. It's not about it. It's about business, but they're not coming in and saying, I want to restructure my contract, blah, 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 this and that. Saying all my coaches have agents, all my players have agents. And he said that the sport has changed. And it used to be about, building relationships, trust, friendship, whatever. And now it's about, you got to deal with the agent, cold hard cash. And so that's why Urban Meyer says he's never going to coach again. Let me say 2 things. One, I think Urban Meyer, everything he said about the state of current college football is accurate. Let me also say, I don't believe for a second that Urban Meyer's career is done, even as the sport of college football continues to evolve. Now, first of all, Urban Meyer's credit, he is right. The sport, even just since he left in 2018, completely different sport. And he knows, he talks to all these guys every single day. It's his life. The sport is different. Like I just said, recruiting used to be about friends and family and relationships and academics and getting a degree. And that's all part of it. Don't get me wrong. But now it's about, frankly, what can you do for me? The Johnny Manziel cold hard cash, baby, right? And most of these elite players do have agents, and it does start with NIL. I'm not saying NIL is the only factor that goes into things, but it's a big, big, big factor. It is a big, big, big factor in all of these decisions. And so Urban Meyer saying the sport has changed. It's moved on without me and I'm ready to move on. And so I get what he's saying, but I do think there's a couple things to factor in. One, all these coaches 2, 3, 4 years ago were all complaining about the same things. Remember Nick Saban going after Jimbo Fisher at that May event at the Tuscaloosa, whatever? it was over exactly what Urban Meyer's talking about. The sport is changing. What are we doing? Where are we going? We got A&M paying everybody. Remember, that was the day that he included Deion Sanders and Travis Hunter. Oh, Jackson State, I read in the paper, they're paying the guy $1 million. Now, obviously, that part wasn't true. But I bring it up just because, like, the bottom line is when I look at Urban Meyer's comments, I get what he's saying, but all of these coaches have said the same thing. And the thing that I have learned about covering college sports for a decade plus, like I have, all these coaches love to complain. And then when push comes to shove, they get over it and they figure it out, right? I mean, think about all the things that coaches have complained about through the years. I mean, everything. NCAA rules, recruiting. I had a coach once tell me, I crack up when I think about this. He said, look, I remember when the NCAA started allowing unlimited text messaging, and everybody said that was the downfall of college sports as we do it. And then you figure it out, and then you work through it, and then you do whatever. And so Urban Meyer saying, it's agents and it's different. It's like, yeah, I think it would be an adjustment for him. I also think because he's Urban freaking Meyer, I think he'd figure it out because he's a competitor and because he's great at what he does. Like we could argue, we could agree, we could disagree about stuff that's happened off the field, the Florida years, the Ohio State years. You can't deny he's a great coach. So I think he'd get over it. And it brings me to the point that I want to make here to kind of wrap, because I'm going long, but it's Wednesday and I like to talk. What can I say? Okay. Urban Meyer's coaching again. And I truly believe in my heart of hearts that he's coaching again. And I know it's a new sport, but I think he's going to adjust. I think he's going to figure it out. And I think he's going to come back at some point. He's going to be pretty good at it. Bottom line remains, listen, Urban Meyer, again, like him, don't like him, he's great at what he does, okay? And I don't believe that the final 2 pages of his coaching epitaph, if you will, are going to be leaving Ohio State under the circumstances that he did and the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, think about how bad, like the Jacksonville Jaguars now is 3 years removed. That was really, 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 really bad. Really bad. The bar incident, the this, the that, he allegedly kicked a player. Who knows if it's true or not? You think that's how Urban Meyer wants to be remembered as a coach? Instead of the 2 national championships at Florida, the national championship at Ohio State. So I think he's coaching again. He's only 59 years old. I think that's the other thing. Like all these guys say, oh, I'll never do it again. It's like, Nick Saban's 72. What are you going to do for the next 13 years? You're going to play with your grandkids and go to one college football game 12 weekends a year? I'm sorry, I don't buy it. This guy's a competitor. This guy wants to be in the fire. And I think at the end of the day, at some point, some job is going to interest him. Now, I think the question becomes, and this is the more interesting part, what are realistic jobs? Who's going to hire him? And what jobs are he going to take? Now, I know a few weeks ago, we talked a little bit about the Michigan State stuff. My buddy Bernie Fratto was the one that broke the story. If Bernie says he was in East Lansing, I believe it. I don't know if it was there as a consultation. I don't know if he actually interviewed. I don't know if he had a conversation talking to the AD, whatever. But the bottom line remains, I think the important kind of thought process is exactly what I just said. Is like, to me, when I think about Urban Meyer, it really is kind of a 2-pronged thing. He's not coming back for any job. He's not coming back to coach whatever, Mississippi State or Boston College. Like, it's going to be an A+ premium, elite job if he comes back, and I believe when he'll come back. But then the question becomes, given his background, given how Florida ended, how Ohio State ended, and certainly how the Jacksonville Jaguars ended, again, all sorts of allegations, verbal abuse, physical abuse, whatever. I don't know how many schools are really going to take a chance on him. Now, we just talked about A&M. Maybe A&M is one of them. Maybe if somehow Texas falls apart under Sark. But I don't think there's that many places that are kind of willing to bite the bullet. Now, you want to win at the highest level, he's going to be the best option available. But at the same time, I just don't know how many schools, like Notre Dame, perfect example. They want to win, not bad enough to hire Urban Meyer. You get the gist of what I'm trying to say. Florida, I don't think he's ever going back there. And then most of these other jobs are in pretty good hands. Like, we can argue about this school, that school, whatever. For the most part, those premium jobs are in good hands. Think about the good jobs. Florida State's in great hands. Texas is in great hands. Oklahoma's in great hands. Alabama's in great hands. LSU's in great hands. Whatever. I think I just said Texas. USC is in great hands. Oregon's great. So, like, the kinds of jobs that he wants, it wouldn't appear as though they're going to open anytime soon. But do I believe he's done coaching? I just don't. And like, I know he's saying what he's saying and I get it and whatever. But in my heart of hearts, I believe that guy is probably coaching again at some point. I don't know when. I don't believe that he is done forever.